You take a look at the 8 groups, gentlemen. There isn't necessarily one that stands out, that jumps off the page. But let's focus on Group D. Argentina, Iceland, Croatia and Nigeria could be the most competitive.
Well, your eyes go straight away to Argentina, but then you've got to remember back to how poor it was in the qualifying for long periods. That being said, they've got to feel they've got the big game mentality. Iceland and Croatia were in the same group in qualifying. Iceland beat them, top the group, but the Croats are the most talented out of the 2 teams for sure, with all the players they've got. Perisic, Modric, Rakitic, Mandzukic. Their problems lie defensively, and I've got to feel that Argentina, for me, will win this group. And I know it's Iceland's first World Cup. I don't think it's going to be a great World Cup for them. I think the big fight will be between Croatia and Nigeria for the second spot.
And I'd really keep an eye on Nigeria as well. Obviously, they breeze through qualifying. You don't, again, necessarily have the 3, 4, 5 superstars that you had before, but I think what you have is a very well-drilled team. And they showed it. I mean, they played Argentina recently in a friendly, and they more than held their own, obviously.
Yeah.
So I don't think you take anything for granted. On paper, yeah, it's Croatia versus Nigeria for second spot, but you could get some weird permutations.
The thing that you find encouraging about Argentina, other than the fact that you have Lionel Messi in the team, is the idea that you have Jorge Sampaoli with time to really prepare this team, to put together a talented group and actually make it look as a team, not as Messi and 10 other guys on the field. So if that's the case for Sampaoli and he gets that work done, then Argentina should walk through this group. As it pertains to that second place, we have the questions of historically how teams like Nigeria come into the tournament and something happens. Yeah. Everything falls apart. It was great in qualifying, and then they get disorganized. Something happens with the federation. Somebody doesn't get paid, and now all of a sudden this team is in disarray going into the competition.
Different group, different Nigerian group this time, though. I mean,
and I've heard that story before.
Put all this to the side.
Yes, but I've heard that story before.
There'll still be arguments over their bonus payments to come in the World Cup and how they're going to get paid or not.
That's how we've seen it historically. So until I see something different, then it's hard for me to make an argument for them.
Croatia are an interesting team to watch because during qualifying they weren't getting on with the coach. There was a lot of arguments going on behind the scenes. And then they changed their coach for the game, 2 games against Greece.
Dalic coming in.
Dalic came in and he seemed to unite everybody. They played very well against Greece and they've got some talented players, as you mentioned earlier.
Well, they changed their coach one game before the end of qualifying, and it was for Ukraine away. It was a win or be out, and they went to the Ukraine and won 2-0. Then they battered a poor Greece team. But they are very talented, the Croats. But again, they themselves can implode within themselves.
I mean, and then that's a good point. I mean, if Ali has concerns about Nigeria's squad unity, I think it applies just as much to Croatia with another big factor too. Obviously, we saw what happened at the Euros with the fans. We saw Modric, of course, some of the things he said in his trial. You have a weird situation there where you've got some of the most popular players on the team being entirely unpopular with a big chunk of the fan base, and that could have repercussions as well.
Julian Laurent is with us as well. Julian, what do you think of this group?
Yeah, it's the most exciting for me. I think Nigeria and Argentina have played together each other in the 5 of the last 6 World Cups or something like that. It's crazy. It's the game we have every 4 years. And what's interesting for us, the French as well, is that the group of France will play against the group of that Group D in the last 16. So if France finish first, they play the second of that Group D, which could be Nigeria, which they played already in the last 16 4 years ago. In Brazil, if France finish second, they could play Argentina in the last 16. So that's very interesting for the French as well.